It is Inauguration Day here at the Old State House in downtown Hartford as we celebrate the inauguration of Connecticut's brand new Kid Governor Cristiano Almeida from the Oshana Elementary School in Southington, and welcome his cabinet as well. This program all part of the Connecticut Democracy Center, engaging students from across the state in civics and civics education.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Bill Bavacqua, and I am the President and CEO of the Connecticut Democracy Center. I'm pleased to welcome you this morning to this pre-inauguration news conference with the 2024 Connecticut's Kid Governor-elect, Cristiano Almeida, and his cabinet. We're about 30 minutes away from the moment where the entire 2024 Connecticut's Kid Governor administration will take its official oath of office right across the hall in the courtroom here at Connecticut's Old State House in Hartford. We're coming to you right now from the Treasurer's office, which is actually the room right next door to the Kid Governor's office here at the Old State House, and Kid Governor-elect Cristiano and his cabinet will be joining us in just a moment. For the news media who are with us today, thank you for joining us. We're going to lead off with the Kid Governor-elect taking your questions from the podium. Then I will invite each cabinet member up to introduce themselves and give a few brief remarks about their platforms. We'll have time for one question per cabinet member, and then we will close out with Kid Governor-elect Cristiano coming back for final questions. Without further ado, allow me to introduce the 2024 Connecticut's Kid Governor-elect Cristiano and his cabinet, Alexa, Claire, Donna, Ella, Max, and Paula. First question for Cristiano.
Cristiano, Keith McGilvery with the Fox 61 Morning News. Congratulations. We have met before, but the day is now here. What are you most excited about for yourself and your team?
Probably when we get sworn in.
And what about after you get sworn in? What are you excited about?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your platform?
So in my platform, I have 3 steps. The first one is a YouTube channel called Fit for Fun Kids, and it'll have videos about fitness and physical activity. And I'm also going to be inviting people who know a lot about fitness onto the channel. My second step is a poster contest that has to include your best fitness tip. And my third step is Fitcoin. And so basically, if you're active in gym or at recess, then your teacher slash PE teacher will give you a Fitcoin, and then you can cash them in for exciting rewards.
Cristiano, I got the chance to be with you at your school when the announcement was made not long ago, and you were quick to thank your teacher. Tell me about your teacher who helped you along the way, and what you were doing at school before this all unfolded for you.
My teacher, Miss Chavez, she's amazing. She's all into surfing and beach things. And she helped me a lot with my Kid Governor project and my video.
And we also got the opportunity to talk a couple of times about teamwork and the boys and girls who were next to you. I know we talked about it a moment ago, but now that we're at your press conference, talk about the boys and girls around you and what your hopes are for them and how you might work together.
I think it would be a good idea if we all work together on each other's projects, not just do our own. And yeah, I can't wait to get started with them.
How does it feel to have your own office here at Connecticut's Old State House?
It feels amazing. Yeah, I get a
How
lot.
about having 5 female
they're good friends. I like them.
Why is fitness important to you?
Because fitness is just a part of my life, and when I was deciding on a Kid Governor topic, I was like, hey, since I know a lot about fitness, I think I should do fitness, because some people aren't like fit.
Okay, so you're looking forward to working with your cabinet. Are there any platforms of your cabinet members that you're really interested in, or all of them equally?
All of them equally.
Okay, well, I'm going to use that as a segue. Cristiano, if you wouldn't mind stepping back for a second, I'm going to ask some of your cabinet members to come up. Let's start with Alexa. And your community issue is littering, right? You want to tell us a little?
I was
I'm
meant to.
sorry, it's mental and physical well-being.
I chose mental and physical well-being because I find it very important to be mentally and physically balanced, because that'll help you have a happy and more productive life.
Was that a topic that you knew right off the bat you wanted to be your platform, or was it something that you had to think about?
I knew I wanted to do something around those guidelines, but once I started researching different topics, I knew that that was a good topic for me to choose.
That's great. What's the first thing you want to do as a cabinet member?
To work on probably the Healthy Hits curriculum, making sure that I have good facts to support all of my research.
Super, thank you. Let's move on to Claire and hobbies that bring happiness.
Claire, could you tell us a little bit about your platform and why you picked it?
I picked my platform because there have been times in my life where I don't have a hobby that brings me happiness, and it doesn't feel good, and I didn't want anyone to feel that way.
So what is a hobby that brings you happiness?
I love to dance and to play basketball and lacrosse.
What are some of the steps in your platform?
Some of the steps in my platform are: 1, find a hobby Friday, which is where teachers will pick a couple students a week to share a presentation about one of their favorite hobbies, and that could help one of their other classmates find a hobby that they're passionate about. Second, I wanted to give them a try it and see survey, which is basically a survey that lists lots of activities that the students may want to try, and staff that can then work with local businesses to help kids learn more about the hobbies that they're passionate about. And I also wanted to, I wanted the school to put on a hobby fair once or twice a year, and kids and businesses, they can set up tables about extracurriculars that they enjoy.
Awesome, thanks, Claire. Okay, how about Donna, who actually has the community issue of littering? Tell us about your platform.
So my platform was littering, and I chose it because, well, it's harming our environment, especially our sea animals, and I really love animals, so it hurted me when I see all these videos and photos of animals stuck in plastic in the sea.
Donna, what's your advice to other fifth graders who are going to watch this in their classrooms today? What do you want them to know about littering, and maybe what they should do either at their own schools or maybe in their neighborhood?
Well, I think they can take at least once a month to clean at least their home
And if they ever go to a beach in the summer, they can clean that as well, because I have been to a lot of beaches and people leave their trash all around.
Governor, I appreciate that work. Thank you. Why is the issue important to you?
Well, as I said, sea animals especially. I really love animals. I had pet fishes, and I really like turtles as well, and those are one of the main animals that are getting targeted and are getting trapped in sea plastic and trash, and it doesn't need to be there, so.
Awesome, thanks, Donna. Let's hear from Ella, whose community issue is bullying. You want to tell us about your platform?
My platform is stopping bullying. My 3-point plan is 1, to have an anti-bullying club, 2, to have a Make a Friend project where you go to schools and make new friends there, 3, to have an Encourage Allies Week, to go to schools and teach students about bullying and what you can do to be an ally when bullying happens.
Ellie, you probably don't know this, but I was at your school for the first day of school this year. It was a party. The principal was welcoming people. Kids were getting wagoned into school. It was really a happy, fun, festive place. I wonder what your advice might be to maybe a student who might be younger than you, who might be scared to go to school or might not have a bunch of friends in the playground. What advice would you give that student?
I would say if you don't have any friends at school, or if you're nervous about going to school for the first time, then you can just start talking to kids, and if you like them, then you can talk to them and tell them about what you like and what you do.
Super, Ella, thank you. Let's move on to Max, whose issue was internet safety. Tell us about your platform, Max.
I'm doing internet safety because I think it's a huge thing that people need to think more about, because a lot of kids are getting cyberbullied and are getting hacked, and they're getting taken away, and I don't think that's right. They need to spend more time on internet safety and making things better.
Max, I know with my nieces and nephews, sometimes they look at Uncle Keith and sometimes they're staring at their phones and their tablets. If a kid comes across something on the internet or on their phone that makes them maybe a little bit uncomfortable or doesn't make them feel safe, what do you think they should do?
I think they should, number 1, block the caller, number 1, tell a parent or tell an adult that you can trust, and they should probably block them and even delete the app if it's that serious.
What inspired you to pick this as a platform?
My whole class was thinking about ideas to write speeches with, and I thought internet safety was really special to me because it's hard to go through something. If somebody is cyberbullying, or somebody hacked you and did something to your device, it's not a fun situation. I don't want anybody to be in that situation.
Absolutely not. Thank you, Max. All right, and our final cabinet member is Paula. Tell us about your platform of diversity and inclusion.
I chose my platform because I want everyone to feel included and special no matter what their differences are.
Paul, I don't know if you knew this or not, but one of the young ladies over here who asked you a question earlier is our Lieutenant Governor, who talked about the fact that there are so many young women up here. What are your hopes and dreams? Do you think maybe one day you might want the Lieutenant Governor's job or Governor Lamont's job?
That would definitely be really excited, because pursuing diversity and inclusion to me is really important, because I feel like everyone should be able to express their cultures and differences.
Watch out, Lieutenant Governor.
You know, my seat is warm and I can't wait till you get there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Paula. Cristiano, come back up. So Cristiano, as you know, you are the 9th Connecticut's Kid Governor to be elected here in Connecticut. And part of your first responsibilities after being elected was your transition meeting with current Kid Governor Ellie, who's about to relinquish her office to you. What was your meeting with her like?
So Ellie kind of just told me some things that I need to know for being Kid Governor, and things that I should look ahead to. And then I gave her some questions, or asked her some questions.
What's the best advice that Ellie gave you?
Probably the best advice was at the end when she told me that, like, the one thing that she could have done but she didn't, that she wants me to do, is kind of like spread out like the word that there's such thing as like Kid Governor, not just like the bus tour or anything, but like actually like say things.
Oh, that's good advice. Final questions for Cristiano. All right, thank you guys. Round of applause. All right, thank you everyone. This concludes our pre-inauguration press conference. Stay tuned for the live stream of the 2024 Connecticut's Kid Governor inauguration starting at 12:45. Thanks. 10:45.
If you want to learn more about the Connecticut Kids Governor Program, or perhaps come visit his office,
Well done, everybody.
here in the Old State House, it is open to visitors and well worth a visit. In Hartford, the good news that keeps the Guild Rate Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right.
Nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends, I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep, say I'm in too deep. It's been 2 years, I miss my home, but there's a fire burning in my bones. I still believe, all those things I didn't say are wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream them loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright, so my power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. A lot of fight left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make an explosion. Might only have one match, I can make a heart open. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright, so my power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. I still got a lot of fight left in me. I've still got a lot of fire left in me. All right, I'm gonna play a couple more for you before we get started today. Thank you guys so much for listening and singing along. I used to bite my tongue and hold my breath, scared to rock the boat and make it best. So I sighed quietly, agreed politely, because then I forgot I had a choice that could push me past the breaking point. Stood for nothing, I fell for everything. It held me down and I got up, already brushing off the dust. Hear my voice, hear that sound, like thunder gonna shake the ground. It held me down and I got up. Get ready, cause I had enough. I see it all, I see it now. I got the eye of a tiger, fighting, dancing through the fire. Cause I am a champion. You're gonna hear me roar. Oh, 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 oh. You're gonna hear me roar. Now I'm floating like a butterfly, singing like a bee. I earned my stripes. I went from zero to my own hero. He held me down, but I got up. Get ready, cause I've had enough. You hear my voice, you hear that sound, like thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up, already brushing off the dust. I see it now, I see it all. I got the eye of a tiger, fighter, dancing through the fire. Cause I am a champion. You're gonna hear me roar. You're gonna hear me roar. You're gonna hear me roar. Roar, 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 roar. I got the eye of the tiger, fighter, dancing through the fire. Cause I am a champion. You're gonna hear me roar, louder, louder than a lion. Cause I am a champion. You're gonna hear me roar. You're gonna hear me roar. You're gonna hear me roar. Thank you guys so much. All right, I'm gonna play one or two more for you guys. This is another one you can sing along to. The words are really simple. It goes like this. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. That's the whole chorus, so you're welcome to sing along with me every time it comes around. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds perch on my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my song for you. One more time. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Thank you all so much for listening. Once again, my name is Kala Farnham, and I am your Connecticut State Troubadour.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you to the State Troubadour, Kala Farnham, for the work that she's done this morning, keeping us entertained with beautiful music. We're very happy to have her here today. And we're happy to have all of you here today. I want to wish you a wonderful morning for students, teachers, honored guests, and friends watching from home or from school or in this very historic courtroom. We are honored to have you here. We are privileged to have you here. But most of all, we are joyful to have you here because we are so happy to see your faces here, ready to share what you know about state government and to learn more about state government. I'm Sally Whipple. I'm the Executive Director of the Connecticut Democracy Center at Connecticut's Old State House. And along with Brian Cofrancesco, the Director of the Kid Governor Program and Connecticut's Kid Governor Coordinator, Ola Olamoya, I am very happy to welcome you to this inauguration of Connecticut's 9th Kid Governor, a celebration of enthusiasm, determination, and civic engagement of our state's 5th graders. We're holding this event in the historic courtroom of Connecticut's Old State House. This former state capitol, now 228 years old, symbolizes the people of Connecticut and our efforts to make our state the best it can be. Since Brian Cofrancesco first envisioned this program in 2015, we have held 8 inaugurations here, and nearly 60,000 5th graders have learned about state government, local issues, campaigns, elections, and voting through the Kid Governor program. Connecticut's Kid Governor and their cabinets have used what they have learned to help students and adults understand the value of being informed about the things happening in our state and about the value of working together to build a better state and a better world. And all of this reaches well beyond Connecticut. Oregon, New Hampshire, and Oklahoma have all signed on to our Kid Governor program, and every year our Kid Governor and Cabinet work virtually with students from those states to share ideas and experiences from coast to coast. So the things that all of you do get spread across the country, which is really an exciting thing that Connecticut has started. It takes a lot of people to make this day happen and to make the whole Kid Governor program happen. First of all, we have a great team here at the Connecticut Democracy Center, people who work year-round to make sure the experiences are educational and valuable and also fun. I'd also want to thank our partners and our major funder, Connecticut Humanities, as well as the Galicki Family Foundation. Both of these organizations provide generous support and welcome encouragement. And we all thank Connecticut's skilled and dedicated 5th grade teachers who have brought the Kid Governor program into their classrooms. They really are the backbone of this program, and we appreciate everything that they do. And of course, I'd like to say a thank you to everybody joining us here today to honor Connecticut's 5th graders as they take this very important step into civic life. All of us here, all of the people you'll meet today, our dignitaries, elected officials, people who are teachers and parents and media people around the room, all of these adults have stepped into the world of civic engagement and have worked to do their best to make Connecticut a great place. And you're joining us, and we are so happy to have you with us. And now I'd like you to please give a warm welcome to our host for the Connecticut's Kid Governor Inauguration Ceremony, WFSB Channel 3's Mr. Roger Susanet.
Good morning, everybody. What a well-dressed group we have. The adults, they don't look too bad either, but you guys look absolutely fantastic. It is my honor and my privilege today to play a role in being a part of Connecticut Kids Governor Inauguration Day. You know, it's always, of course, exciting to welcome a newly elected official into office, and today we will swear in your 2024 Kid Governor and Cabinet members. So whether you're watching online or here in person, here at Connecticut's beautiful Old State House, you have a really, really fun and exciting day ahead of you. You know, I was telling people today I'm going to be part of the inauguration of the new governor, and people thought, boy, I haven't been paying close attention to the news. I just left out the part that it was the kid governor, but I think it's just as exciting. This morning, you're going to meet state dignitaries who will be joining us for this special event. You'll also hear from your outgoing kid governor, Ellie Mendez, and of course, the kid of the hour, Kid Governor-elect Cristiano Almeida. And you'll watch as Cristiano and his members of cabinet will take their oaths of office. Also, later this afternoon, you will get to connect with people who work in Connecticut's 3 branches of state government. They will answer your questions about how their branch works with the other branches in our state government. And those of you who are here with us in person, you are really in for a special treat. You'll spend time meeting with your 2024 Kid Governor and cabinet members, and you'll also get to visit the Kid Governor's office, which is really cool because that historic room actually served as the adult governor's office way back in the 1800s. I hope today's inauguration empowers everybody in this room to make a difference in our community and also to make sure that all of our voices are heard. So before we begin our inauguration ceremony, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for the national anthem. All right, everybody up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Boy, you guys have great voices. You should be up here. All right, now let's please welcome our State Troubadour, Kala Farnham, who will sing the national anthem. Kala, take it away.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, that's a tough act to follow. That was beautiful. Thank you, Kala. Please, everybody be seated. All right, and now what we've all been waiting for. Today, we will recognize a group of motivated and passionate fifth graders who accepted the big challenge of running for Connecticut's Kid Governor this past fall. They were the final candidates in the 2023 statewide election, and today they will begin their one-year term as your 2024 Kid Governor and Cabinet. I would like to ask each of them to please stand and wave to the audience when I call your name. First up, your 2024 Kid Governor and your Kid Governor-elect right now, Cristiano Almeida. His platform will address physical activity for kids. And now for the cabinet members. First up, we have Alexa Adgers. Her platform focuses on mental and physical well-being. Next, we have Claire Perrault. Claire will focus on hobbies that bring happiness. Next up, Donna Lara. Donna will focus on preventing littering. And we have Ella Hawkins. Ella plans to address bullying. Next up, Max Parisi. Max plans to address internet safety. And finally, we have Paula Sanchez Barreto. Paula is committed to celebrating diversity and inclusion. Again, let's hear it for all of our cabinet members and the Kid Governor. Now, the cabinet will spend the next year working together to advance their platforms and to support Kid Governor-elect Cristiano and his platform. We're also here to recognize the students who are here in this room with us today. Cristiano's and the cabinet members' classmates. Great work, everybody. You helped develop their platforms, assisted in creating campaign videos, and provided support during the statewide election. Each of you played a very important role in your candidate's success. So I think you all deserve a round of applause too. And while we're clapping, why don't we also give a big round of applause to all the teachers who are here with us today. Thank you to all of our teachers in this room and also the dozens who are also watching online right now. They prepared lessons and enthusiastically brought the Connecticut Kid Governor program to your classrooms this past year. I'd also like to recognize the nearly 10,000 Connecticut fifth graders who participated in this past year's Kid Governor program. You all voted and had a voice in this election. Some of you helped to nominate a student from your school. Some of you ran for office yourselves. Each of you played an important role in this statewide election. So let's hear it for all of you. Let's keep it up, guys. Let's have another round of applause. It's just a love fest. Okay, in a few minutes, you're going to hear from your 2023 Kid Governor, Ellie Mendez, who is finishing up her one-year term today. Ellie, please stand and be recognized for your hard work and your contribution this past year. We're also very honored to have officials from all three branches of our state government here today to celebrate Kid Governor-elect Cristiano and the members of his cabinet. So you all are here in person and some are watching from classrooms. So these public servants have made the time and taken the effort to participate in today's inauguration, which is a testament to the value of civics education here in Connecticut. So our first speaker is Connecticut's Lieutenant Governor, Susan Bisowitz. Now, as Lieutenant Governor, she takes the place of the governor when needed and also provides over the Senate in the legislative branch. So let's please welcome Lieutenant Governor Bisowitz to the podium.
Well, good morning, everyone. What a great day to celebrate the talent of our students and also to celebrate our new Kid Governor. I am so happy to be here on behalf of not just myself, but also Governor Lamont to celebrate the incredible talent of these young folks that you have met and will meet. So to our 2024 Kid Governor, Cristiano, congratulations. You will be called the 9th Kid Governor. And every time I get introduced, I'm the 109th Lieutenant Governor. Here's what I think is great about the Kid Governors is 7 of the 9 have been young ladies, which hopefully that portends good things for the future of Connecticut with kids leading the way. And Cristiano, look at the diversity of your cabinet. 5 of your cabinet members are girls, and you have each brought a very special issue forward that you want to work on, that's important to you and to the voters who selected you and to our state. And I think one of the things that we celebrate today is you can never be too young to make a difference. I want to give a shout out to a young lady who is Lieutenant Governor for the day. And she goes to Aiken School in West Hartford. She's also a 5th grader. Kara Toscano, will you wave and let everybody see you? She's the Lieutenant Governor for the day. and she's been shadowing me at the Capitol. And to the Kid Governor Cabinet, Cristiano and the cabinet members, I'm looking forward to hosting you in my office in several months, where you'll have the opportunity to see the legislature in action or not. All right. So let me just say also, Cristiano, that your fame precedes you, because I was at an event in Cheshire, and a boy came up to me and he said, "Have you met the governor?" And I said, "Oh, I see the governor every day. I'm usually on the phone with Ned Lamont every day, or I see him in person." And he said, "No, Cristiano." So we're very proud of you, Cristiano. And I want to say to the amazing candidates who ran and are now serving as cabinet members, Alexa, Claire, Donna, Ellen, Max, and Paula, thank you for running great campaigns and for getting so many young people involved in voting. And thank you for the thoughtfulness that you have given to issues that you think are important. And you're helping government leaders in Connecticut to keep making our state even better. And Ellie, I want to say thank you to you. You've had a great year as the 2023 Kid Governor, and I want to thank your cabinet as well. Ellie, you've already had a transition meeting with Cristiano, and so he's already told us that the advice that you gave him is invaluable. So congratulations, Cristiano. Congratulations to the cabinet members. And thank you to all of the students in the room and across Connecticut who've made this great program so successful.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for those incredible remarks there. I actually just got a breaking news alert on my phone, and I looked at it. I hated to do it as the Lieutenant Governor was speaking, but it just said Cristiano about to be named Connecticut Kid Governor. So I said, okay, finally some good news, right? All right, next up, I'd like to invite Commissioner of Education Charlene Russell Tucker to the podium. So the commissioner has a really important job. So first, she served in several roles in the State Department of Education and was appointed by Governor Ned Lamont, that's the adult governor, by the way, to lead Connecticut's public education system. So let's give a warm welcome to Commissioner Russell Tucker.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I think you can even do a little bit better than that, looking out in the room. Awesome. That's what I'm accustomed to. So thank you very much. It is so great to be here with you this morning. Civics education is a key goal of public education. It enables all our students, all of you, to thrive and become good stewards for society. And we really need that today. I think we will agree. And I'm also going to do the shout out to our educators or teachers, those in the room, those watching, for the amazing work that you do every single day. And also, we have a superintendent here, a proud superintendent from Southington is in the room as well. But you're making civics meaningful and you're bringing it to life through this kind of a program. This Kid Governor program is a compelling way to do this. We have our fifth graders create campaigns, platforms, entire classes and grades get involved, campaigning, voting, and we believe this is civics education in its purest form, not just what you're learning in the classroom, but put it into action. So thank you very much for bringing that alive today. And I want to express gratitude to Ellie. I think she's grown since the last time I saw her a year ago. It's been a pleasure watching you implement your platform to express and address your feelings, to tackle mental health, which is so important for us today. And Cristiano, congratulations. As I said, your proud superintendent is here in the room with us. And I look forward to your platform of physical activity. That's really important when we think about it. Did you know that our fitness assessment from last year, that we've done in fourth, sixth, and eighth in high school show that more than half of our students that were tested, this is a fitness test, were not able to, they needed to better with aerobic capacity, for flexibility, for upper body strength, right? So this is really important. So Cristiano, we're looking forward to you taking on this role in your year, and we're not going to hold you to it, but we're going to see if those scores get better after your year in office. But it truly is important for us, physical activity, really important for education and for you to be successful and for you to thrive. So congratulations to the cabinet. You've got great platforms that you're running on, and we look forward to great things from you. As your Commissioner of Education, I'm there to support all of you. So thank you all very much for what you're doing here every single day.
Thank you, Commissioner. And by the way, if you're wondering why she's so adept at commanding a room, yes, she's a former teacher. So this is old hat to her, but thank you so much again, Commissioner. I'd also like to recognize several other very special guests who are here with us today. So I ask that you please stand and be recognized when I say your name. So on the dais, we have the Secretary of the State, Stephanie Thomas. We also have Attorney General William Tong, State Senator Rob Sampson. Now, he represents the Kid Governor-elect's hometown of Southington in the Senate. Let's hear it for Southington. And with that in mind, let's also say hello to Representative Chris Poulos, who also represents Southington in the House of Representatives. And we also have the State Supreme Court Justice, Stephen Ecker. Now, we also have a lot of VIPs in the audience, of course, everybody in front of me right here, but we also have representing the Connecticut Humanities, which is the organization whose partnership and funding support make the Kid Governor program and Inauguration Day possible. So we have Deputy Director Scott Wands. Also, State Social Studies Consultant and member of the Kid Governor Advisory Committee, Stephen Armstrong. And some really important VIPs. Let's hear it for Kid Governor Ellie Mendez's family. And we have more folks from Southington in the house. We have the chair of the Southington Town Council, Paul Chaplinsky Jr. And the chair of the Southington Board of Education, Colleen Clark. Also, the superintendent of Southington Public Schools, Stephen Medancy. And a very important person in this room, Kid Governor-elect Cristiano's principal, Josephine Rogala. And of course, Kid Governor-elect Cristiano Almeida's family. Please stand. All right. And as you might guess, we have even more special guests that are going to join us a little bit later today for our educational program about state government. They are not here with us right now, but I would like to acknowledge their participation and support of this great program. We have State Treasurer Eric Russell. He'll join us to talk about the executive branch. Former Supreme Court Justice Dennis Evely will speak to us with us about the judicial branch. And State Senator Tony Huang and Representative Hilda Santiago will speak with us about the legislative branch. So, as we prepare to swear in Cristiano and his cabinet, I would like to call on 2023 Kid Governor Ellie Mendez. It was 1 year ago that Ellie stood at this podium delivering her inaugural address and sharing her goals for her Express and Address Your Feelings platform. She will now review her term in office as she delivers her farewell address. So please join me in welcoming your outgoing Kid Governor, Ellie Mendez.
Hello. Thank you to everyone who is here in person and watching online. Let's kick things off with a big round of applause for Cristiano and his cabinet as they embark on their upcoming term. Cristiano, your dedication to addressing physical activity in kids through your platform is truly commendable. I have full confidence in you that you will achieve incredible things as Kid Governor. To cabinet members Alexa, Claire, Dana, Ella, Max, and Paula, I'm eagerly anticipating the impactful initiatives you'll each bring to your respective platforms. A genuine and heartfelt thank you to all of those who stood by me throughout my entire term. A special shout out to my rock star mom and dad and my little brother AJ. My family has been my biggest supporters and a constant source of motivation. I also want to thank my 5th grade teacher, Mr. N, who helped me overcome hurdles I never thought I could. Thank you to Miss Palmieri and Miss Sereno for always helping me when I needed help with my role as Kid Governor. A big thank you to Monroe Elementary School and the entire Monroe community for the opportunity to shine. I would also like to thank my current 6th grade teacher, Miss Conti, for always being super supportive. I will always remember when Selectman Ken Kellogg proclaimed January 23rd as Kid Governor Ellie Mendez Day. I want to express my profound appreciation to my cabinet members, Aaron, Jacob, Liliana, Maxon, Scarlett, and Sean. The dedication and hard work they poured into their platforms over the past year has been nothing short of extraordinary. Their unwavering commitment has meant the world to me, and I'm sincerely grateful for the invaluable support they've offered. I also want to thank Ms. Petrozello and the Connecticut Democracy Center for running the Kid Governor program. Their support has given me the chance to actively contribute to addressing anxiety and depression in kids. My first platform point was to educate the students about the signs of anxiety and depression and strategies to cope with those feelings. To accomplish this, I hosted an online educational program for students and interviewed psychologists from our state. I also promoted my idea to have a tap-out light station in classrooms across Connecticut. My second platform point was to promote strategies for Connecticut 5th graders to communicate their feelings. I filmed a video series where I interviewed a school psychologist about the importance of mental health, how to identify what you're feeling and why, and how to communicate your feelings in a healthy way. I also spoke about my Turn My Frown Upside Down mailbox for students to talk to their teachers about how they are feeling. You can watch these videos on the Connecticut Kid Governor YouTube channel. My third platform point was to create a digital mental health hub with uplifting messages and interactive resources to inspire kids. I created a Bitmoji classroom with articles, videos, and other resources about mental health that are meant for kids. I also collected uplifting messages through a poster contest in partnership with the Department of Children and Families. As I reflect on my term, overwhelming emotions well up, and it's hard to find words to truly capture the profound impact this extraordinary opportunity has had on me. This journey has been more than just a chapter. It's been a transformative experience that has touched the core of who I am as a person, a student, and a budding role model. This experience is etched in my heart as an unforgettable tapestry of moments that will accompany me for the entirety of my life's journey. It has become a guiding light, helping me shape the person I am destined to become. This opportunity, this moving experience, has served a pivotal point in my childhood, leaving an imprint on my soul. I will never forget how becoming Kid Governor made me feel. A surge of strength, a blossoming of self-discovery. It has empowered me to embrace myself fully, to strive for better, and to step in the shoes of a leader. As I navigate the path ahead, I carry with me not just memories, but a profound sense of purpose, gratitude, and heart brimming with emotion for the incredible journey that has shaped me. As I bid farewell, remember, you are stronger than you think you are. Your journey will present challenges and triumphs, but in those moments of uncertainty, find strength within yourself. Believe in your abilities, trust your instincts, and know that your unique perspectives and ideas have the potential to make a significant impact. Embrace the journey ahead with courage, compassion, and the unwavering belief that positive change begins with the strength within. Thank you, as I bid farewell from your 2023 Connecticut's Kid Governor.
Talk about a tough act to follow again. Geez, unbelievable. Well, if anybody is an advertisement for what this program is all about, it is Ellie. And everybody in this room can make a difference the way that Ellie did. So thank you so much for those incredible words. And thank you so much for your hard work. I guess now she can go back to private life, right? No, I think we'll hear from Ellie a lot in the future, certainly. And her program, Express and Address Their Feelings. You've really done the entire state proud, Ellie. Okay, our next speaker, again, tough act to follow, but we have the Secretary of the State, Stephanie Thomas. She will also deliver the oaths of office to Cristiano and his cabinet members. So Secretary Thomas is the 75th Secretary of the State of Connecticut. She works in the executive branch, overseeing the state's records and elections. I think she's happy today that I'm not bugging her about election stuff. The Secretary of the State's office has sworn in every single previous Kid Governor. So please join me in welcoming Secretary of the State Thomas to the podium.
Ellie, can I hire you as my speechwriter? Good morning, everyone. I have to outdo the commissioner. Good morning. Woo! Let's take a vote. Who won? I love elections. I love voting about everything. I'm really happy to be here today. I am going to ask you some questions because it's always hard to be the last speaker. How many of you had fun learning about each candidate and their platforms? Just raise your hand. How many of you learned something new? Nice. I see some parents and teachers. I love that. How many of you had fun voting and waiting for the results and cheering people on? See, that's the fun part. So I want you to remember these feelings so that when you turn 18 and you get to vote for the next president or the adult governor or secretary of the state, just remember that fun and that feeling. You can keep that when you're grown up. That is the beauty of living in this country. We all get a chance to weigh in on what issues we want people to follow, and we get to vote for them. So I hope you'll make a commitment to start voting when you turn 18 and keep it up for the rest of your life. So today I have the honor of swearing in our 2024 Kid Governor Cristiano. I want to let you know that I went to the gym this morning and I feel great. So great platform. And I'm really proud of all of the students, all of those who voted, but also the ones who put their name in the ring, ran for office. I think I speak on behalf of everyone in Connecticut. We're so proud. It's hard to be a leader sometimes. It's hard to put your ideas on the line. You don't know if people will like them. So congratulations to all of you for already doing more than I accomplished by the time I was 50 years old. I have to give you a round of applause. And I think the Lieutenant Governor said this earlier. It's a reminder for all of us You can be 8, 18, 80. You are never too young or too old to make your voice heard and to stand up for what you believe in, to get involved in your community, to volunteer. So you're off to a great start. Keep it going. So it's my duty to swear everyone in, and I'm really excited. So what I'm going to do, actually, let me stick to my script. See, Ellie, I have a lot to learn from you. So I do want to mention the cabinet. So I have one of my constitutional officers here, Attorney General Tong, and we have to work very closely with the governor for our job. And it's so important, and I'm sure Ellie will agree to this as well. It's so important to have a cabinet that supports you, that you can run your ideas by. So I'm swearing in everyone, and everyone has an equally important role. So I congratulate all of you in your work. And Ellie, I just want to, and your cabinet, we had so much fun when you came to visit my office, and I look forward to having lots of fun when Cristiano and his cabinet visit. Start thinking of your questions now. Ellie knows I won't let you off the hook until you ask one or two. So when I begin the swearing in, I'm going to do the cabinet first. I'll ask you to stand and raise your right hand. I will administer the oath. It will get repetitive, and then we'll move on to the next person. So first up, we have Alexa Adgers, who lives in New Britain and goes to Renzulli Academy in Hartford. Alexa, please stand. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the fifth graders and students of Connecticut during your one-year term and so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of the Kid Governor's Cabinet to the best of your abilities, so help you God? If so, please say I do. Congratulations. Claire Perot, who lives in Southbury and goes to Gainfield Elementary School. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the fifth graders and students of Connecticut during your one-year term and so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of Kid Governor's Cabinet to the best of your abilities, so help you God? If so, please say I do. Thank you. Donna Lara, you're next, from Grove J. Tuttle Elementary School in East Haven. Do you solemnly swear, yes, I have to read this every time, that you will support the fifth graders and students of Connecticut during your one-year term and so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of the Kid Governor's Cabinet to the best of your ability, so help you God? If so, please say I do. Thank you. Next, we have, do I have Ella? Sorry.
Stand by.
I can tell by the order they're sitting in. No, I have Ella Hawkins, right? Yeah, next up. Perfect. I think I'm good.
You good? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. You always need someone to be on standby to rescue you. Ella Hawkins, who lives in New Britain and goes to Creck Anna Grace Academy of the Arts in Bloomfield. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the fifth graders and students of Connecticut during your one-year term and so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of the Kid Governor's Cabinet to the best of your abilities, so help you God. If so, please say I do. Thank you and congratulations. Max Paris from East Haven, who attends East Haven Academy. Do you, Max, solemnly swear that you will support the fifth graders and students of Connecticut during your one-year term and so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of the Kid Governor's Cabinet to the best of your ability, so help you God? If so, please say I do. Thank you. Paula Sanchez Barreto from Ivy Drive School in Bristol. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the fifth graders and students of Connecticut during your one-year term and so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of the Kid Governor's Cabinet to the best of your abilities, so help you God? If so, please say I do. Yay! Welcome. And now it's my duty to administer the oath of office to your 2024 Kid Governor Cristiano Almeida. Please join me at the podium, and I would also like to invite Cristiano's family to come stand behind us. So please come on up. There, you're already there. And any photographers, let me know when you're ready. Cristiano, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the fifth graders and the students of Connecticut during your one-year term and so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the Connecticut's Kid Governor to the best of your abilities, so help you God? If so, please say I do. Yay! Please join me in welcoming the 2024 Kid Governor. It is now my honor to present you with the Kid Governor sash, the symbol of your office. And you should wear this sash proudly when you address your constituents, make public appearances, and participate in programs. So I'm doing it wrong. Congratulations. So this sash has been worn by all of your predecessors, Elena Tipton, Jessica Broxham, Megan Kasparowski, Ella Briggs, Myra Stanfield, Reese Naughton, Makai Etienne Modeste, and Ellie Mendez, and now Cristiano Almeida. So congratulations. I invite you to deliver your remarks, sir.
Good morning, fellow students, community members, the teachers of Connecticut, and all the special guests and dignitaries celebrating Inauguration Day here today, both in person and online. First and foremost, let me express my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you who played a part in this amazing journey. I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation for the extraordinary work that the Connecticut Democracy Center has done for the Kid Governor program. Your commitment to involving students in civics education and engagement, as well as empowering young minds to participate in the democratic process, is truly amazing. To my dedicated cabinet members, Alexa, Claire, Donna, Max, Paula, and Ella, I'm looking forward to working with you on your platforms and joining together to make a difference in Connecticut. Last but not least, I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude to some people right here in this room with me. Thank you to my dedicated teacher, Ms. Chavez, my enthusiastic school principal, Mr. Ogala, Superintendent, Mr. Medancy, the Southington Board of Education, Chairperson Colleen Clark, and Town Council Chairperson, Mr. Chaplinski. And thank you to my supportive and encouraging classmates, and of course, my loving family that has always had me active from day one. Please join me in a round of applause for all of them. When I embarked on this journey to become your kid governor, I knew that I wanted to make a difference and to inspire positive change. That's why my platform, Getting Fit for Fun, will promote physical fitness in a very fun way. In a world that is getting more technology dependent each day, promoting a culture of fitness and well-being is not just a choice. It's a necessity. My first platform point is to create a Fit for Fun Kids video series. Picture this. Engaging videos showcasing fitness routines, physical activities, insightful interviews with professionals, and even videos submitted by students like you. Why? Because I believe that making fitness fun and accessible is the key to inspiring a generation of healthy individuals. Let's get moving together. Next on the agenda is my second platform point, coordinating a statewide poster contest focused on fitness tips. This is special because these posters will be made by kids for kids. The fifth grader whose poster wins the contest will have their artwork showcased on the Connecticut's Kid Governor website, shared with Kid Governor classes, and featured in my blog. This contest will not only display the artistic talents of our fellow fifth graders, but promote ways we can all work together to be physically active. And finally, my third platform point is the FitCoin program. It sounds like Bitcoin, but it's not. It's a unique initiative designed to encourage physical activity in schools. The concept is simple. Get active, earn FitCoins, and be recognized for your hard work. By making fitness a rewarding experience, we can develop healthy habits from a young age, inspiring a lifelong commitment to well-being. As I stand before you, I am filled with excitement and determination. Together, we can create a Connecticut where every kid is active, healthy, and happy. I look forward to the challenges ahead and the positive impact we will make on the lives of fifth graders in this state. In closing, let me just say that the journey has just begun. I'm eager to work alongside each of my cabinet members, Alexa, Claire, Donna, Ella, Max, and Paula, to make Connecticut a great example of positive student health across the nation. Let's move forward, get fit for fun, and build a future we can all be proud of. Thank you, Connecticut, for entrusting me with the honor of being your kid governor. It's time to hit the ground running. Literally.
Well, now we see why he was elected as your 2024 Connecticut Kid Governor. Let's hear it again for Cristiano Almeida. Now, I don't want to make it about me, but I did put the speech down in front of him. So I think, Cristiano, that makes me your very first staffer. I think maybe Director of Communications. We could talk about a promotion later. But again, thank you so much, Cristiano. And thank you, Secretary Thomas, as well, by the way, for delivering those oaths of office. That was a tough job. That was a long process. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our cabinet members again. So let's hear it one more time for our newly elected Kid Governor Cristiano, his cabinet members, and today's special guests. But as Cristiano himself said, this is just the beginning of this journey. So everybody in this room, I really look forward to seeing what you are able to contribute and to help the state going forward. Thanks to Kid Governor and his cabinet. They did incredible, incredible work. And remember, that great political mind, Spider-Man, taught us something really important. With great power comes what? Great responsibility. Thank you guys so much again. I'm going to turn it back over now to Sally Whipple, who will tell you about your next activity because, again, Inauguration Day is just getting started. Thank you again.
Well, this was really an inspiring inauguration, and we appreciate everybody being here for this. In a moment, I'm going to dismiss the students one class at a time for lunch, another very exciting part of the day. But before I do that, I'd like us all to show our appreciation for Roger Susannon for hosting today's inauguration. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I also want to show our appreciation for all of the dignitaries who came today to help witness fifth graders stepping into civic life today. We really appreciate that you were here and that you have shared this with us and with the students. So thank you to all of you. And for those of you who are watching online, we hope you've enjoyed this morning's inauguration ceremony. The celebration is not over yet, though. You can tune in for one of this afternoon's sessions of Meet the Three Branches of State Government, where you will hear from people who have been elected to work in our government in each branch of government. To the 7 classes here today, I will now dismiss you 1 or 2 schools at a time, and you will have until 12 o'clock to eat your lunch, at which time one of our staff members will meet you and bring you to your first stop in our educational program. So I'm going to ask you to remain quiet while I dismiss each group, and when I call your school's name, please stand up quietly, gather your belongings, and quickly follow your guides. Our first group is following Mr. Orchid, who is right here. Oshana Elementary School, please stand and quietly follow Mr. Orchid. Our second group will follow Mr. Sawyer and Ms. Lal. Mr. Sawyer and Ms. Lal, where are you? Over there? Okay, they're going to be over there. So if you can wave for the students to see you. This is Grove J. Tuttle Elementary School and East Haven Academy. You will please stand and quietly follow Mr. Sawyer and Ms. Lal. And I'd ask you to be quiet so I can tell the rest of the students what they'll be doing. We have the most helpful secretary of the state in the country. Our second group will, the rest of you will be eating here in the courtroom, but please listen carefully to my instructions. I'll tell you where each room in the class will eat, and then you can move to your spots, and your lunches will be brought in for you. Ivy Drive School. Are you paying attention, Ivy Drive School? You are going to be eating in the east wing over there between the columns and the windows. Renzulli Academy, you will be eating here in the center of the room on the east side, on this side of the columns, on that side of the room. And after lunch, both of your schools will be led by Ms. Tabor and Mrs. Ferry to your next spot. Gainfield Elementary School, you will be eating here in the center of the room on the west side, that's right here. And Anna Grace Academy of the Arts, you will be eating in the west wing, right over here between the columns and the windows. After lunch, your schools will be led by Mrs. Costa and Mrs. Dell. And then you will begin the educational part of the program. Thank you.
Check. Three. 1, 2, 3. One, two.
see how this is going to go. Listen to this. Doing good, all right. Doing good. Almost there. Almost there. I'll be all right. Believe me. I'll sleep better tonight. Yeah. Tough call. But the right call. I did it. Amen. I had to make that call on my wedding day. It was an outside wedding. And it was raining at 6 a.m. and the ceremony was starting at about 10. And I said, we're doing it outside. I don't care. We're doing it. Clouds parted. Off we go.
Did everybody have a good lunch? Hello, everybody. Did you all have a good lunch? Good. I'm glad to hear that. Now we are going to have a lot of fun and we're going to learn a lot. We are going to be meeting people who represent three branches of government in Connecticut. And I think you have prepared questions for them. So what we're going to do is I am going to have our guests introduce themselves and say who they are. And then we will have you, I guess, raise your hands to ask questions. I'm going to repeat the question and then we'll get the answers from our guests. Does that sound good? Great. Then first, can we begin with introducing yourselves?
Sure. So good morning, guys. How's everyone doing? All right. And lunch was good? All right, cool. So my name is Eric Russell, and I am the state treasurer in Connecticut. So I'm responsible for overseeing all of the state's money and finances and making sure that we're making good investments in the state. And I've been treasurer for a little over a year. I got elected last year and started. And I've been having a lot of fun. I'm an attorney by trade, so I was a finance lawyer before I ended up running for treasurer. And I did that for about 10 or 11 years. So that's my background.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Okay, great. My name is Hilda Santiago. I am a state representative and I represent the city of Meriden for the 84th district. The number's not that important, but I've been a state rep now for 12 years. Before that, I served on the city council for 8 years, and I am the first elected Puerto Rican in the city of Meriden to serve on the city council, and I am the first Puerto Rican woman to serve as state representative for Meriden. I started off being a teacher a long time ago, and that was my passion, was education, and it still is. But I ended up in social services and I ended up being a politician. So my job is to make laws with a whole bunch of other people in the state capitol that sometimes you might want to follow or not follow, but you're supposed to follow. So everything that happens on a daily basis, like even stopping at a red light, it's all issues that we talk about at the state legislature in making those laws. So thank you for having me here, and I hope you had a great, great lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me here today. My name is Dennis Ellie, and I currently sit as a judge in the appellate court. I was on the Supreme Court for 7.5 years until I hit mandatory retirement age, which is 70. I hear appellate court appeals now, and I also help out in the trial court doing various pre-trials. I've been a judge over 25 years, and I was a practicing lawyer before then, which now makes me over 50 years as a lawyer. So I look forward to any of your questions today, and thanks for coming, and thanks for preparing the questions.
Thank you very much. This is wonderful. So we have 3 branches of government, and I know that you have questions. So did each school come with some questions, and do you have a student assigned to ask questions? All right, let's go with, do you want to pick out your first students to do it? So the question is, what made you want to run for your office?
So I never saw myself running for office. That really wasn't my plan. I grew up in inner city New Haven. My parents moved to Connecticut with very little resources. We grew up in a tough neighborhood. And I knew I always wanted to do something to help give back to the community that raised me in so many ways. And when I first got introduced to politics and I saw how laws were made and how action was taken in government, one thing I noticed is that there weren't a lot of people who looked like me or were from the community that I grew up in who were actually involved or who had a seat at the table. And so after practicing law for many years, this opportunity came up, and I felt like it was a great way for me to combine my professional experience as a lawyer and working in finance with my lived experience and background to make sure that we have folks in government who understand all of our communities across the state and that could bring that perspective to the table. And so what I really was excited about as treasurer is, you know, when you are responsible for a large amount of money, you also have a lot of influence on how things are done. You're able to weigh in. And I want to make sure that while we are taking care of the state's finances, while we're moving in the right direction from that perspective, that we're also thinking about how we create opportunities for people to lift themselves up and for everyone to have, for there to be a level playing field, to create more economic opportunity for people so that everyone can thrive in our state, right? And so that was really what encouraged me to run for office.
Thank you. Would you like?
Yeah. You can clap. Thank you. That's a very important question. Because sometimes a lot of us politicians don't start off wanting to be a politician. I started first as a teacher, then I went into social services, and then I started to help a lot of people in the community. And then I started to realize that a lot of the decisions that I wanted changed couldn't be changed. So I wanted to have that voice at the table, not only as a woman, but as a person of color, because the people that were making those decisions at the state level in the legislature didn't look like me. And I wanted to have a voice for those people those folks in my community that didn't have that voice, that all they're worried about is, as working families, they worry about putting food on the table, having a roof over their head, sending their kids to school, doing all the right things. And sometimes laws are made that are not right, and some of them are good. There's a lot of good laws. But being at the state capitol as a state representative gives me that chance to hear from my community and hear about those ideas that kids, parents, other people in the community might want changed. So I can bring those ideas to the Capitol and change laws in order to make people happier, make it easier to live in the state of Connecticut, and have that voice again at the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as a Superior Court judge and an appellate judge, we are not elected. We are appointed by the governor and approved by the General Assembly. And you have to go through a process where you fill out a questionnaire, you go before a Judicial Selection Commission for an interview, and then if they approve you, you get put on a list. And the governor must appoint judges from that list, but doesn't have to appoint everyone who's on the list. So many people wait a long time. After I got on the list, I waited 3 years, which I was fortunate to be appointed. And again, as I said, that's over 25 years ago. But from the first time I started practicing in court over 50 years ago, almost immediately I could tell that what I wanted to do was be a judge. And so it's a process that kind of began from year one of being a lawyer, appearing in court in front of judges, and was lucky enough to be appointed. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Those were really wonderful answers, and something for all of you to keep in mind as you're thinking about your experiences in life and what you would like those to lead to. So let's have another school ask a question. What is the most important role of senator and representative? That's the question. Very good.
Good question. As you know, I'm a representative. We have two houses. We have a House of Representatives and we have a Senate. And those are the folks, there's 187 of us that are elected. And one of the reasons, again, why I became a representative was to make change, especially in my community. My community is mostly minority. There's a lot of people that are renters. There's a lot of folks that don't have high education. So some of them are just making minimum wage to survive. And as many of you know, that living in the state of Connecticut is very expensive. Your parents might complain about it once in a while. It's too expensive to live in Connecticut. The taxes are too high. But we, at the state legislature, make a list of what taxes your parents pay at the stores, in the restaurants. We make those decisions at the state level, even little things like that. So one of the things that we're going to work on this session, and it's something that we've been fighting for a while, is like, when you go to a restaurant, the waitresses make a lot less money than the minimum wage in the state of Connecticut. In the state of Connecticut, the minimum wage now is $15.69, I believe. But the waitresses and the busboys get paid a lot less than that because they also get tipped. And now that whole association and all the people that work in the restaurants are now fighting so that they also get paid $15.69, just like everybody else does starting their jobs, but that they can also keep their tips. So a lot of restaurant owners don't pay them the minimum wage. So that's something that's might not be important if you're not in that industry, in the food industry, or if you don't work in that line of work, but it's important for them because they want to stay in the state of Connecticut. They love being here. They want to, pay their taxes, but they also want to make good money in order to survive in the state of Connecticut. So those are some of the things that I got to think about. So there's so many other laws that we enact, that we do every session, but you need both houses in order to approve a bill. If it starts in the Senate, it's approved in the Senate, and then it comes down to the House, and then we have to approve it, and then of course it goes to the governor, and then the governor signs the bill. That's how we basically got the minimum wage to go up over a series of 4 to 5 years, because in other states around the country, the minimum wage, the federal wage rate, I think now is about $7.25. I haven't read if it's gone up, but those are important decisions that does affect why you stay in Connecticut, why you want to live in Connecticut, why you want to raise your family in Connecticut. And we always are, and we as legislators are always trying to make it easier for people to stay in Connecticut. That's the easy question. That's a short way of answering that question, but thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. Do either of you want to respond to that question?
So the one thing I would say, I obviously am not a state representative or a senator, but my office works very closely with the legislature. And so there's a lot of work that I do in my office in terms of managing the state's money and fiscal policy, but we also advocate for legislation and work with the legislature to get that passed. And so one example of that was legislation that we got passed, and we funded a program called Connecticut Baby Bonds this year. And what Connecticut Baby Bonds is it's a program to address poverty in the state. So now in Connecticut, for any baby who's born into poverty, there will be $3,200 that's invested in a trust on their behalf. And I invest that money over the life of that child. And when they are between the ages of 18 and 30, they can access that money to help pay for college, or to help purchase a home here in Connecticut, or to start a business here in Connecticut. And the whole idea is that if you have access to some money when you are 18 years old, you can turn that money into wealth over time, something that's going to grow, right? And we want more people, our young folks, we want buying homes here in Connecticut and staying here and raising families and starting their careers here. And so that is an example of how my office will often work with the legislature, with senators and state representatives, to get policy passed that's really important for our state.
Thank you. Justice?
Thank you.
Yes.
I just wanted to add, just for a minute, as a judge, the most important thing from my perspective is whenever we hear a case, you may have heard the expression, there's two sides to every story. And we have two sides, and it's important. We don't know any of the parties that come before us. It's important to listen to both sides, to to let them write briefs on the law. You listen to all the facts from witnesses, and only after all the facts are in and you've read all the law do you make a decision. So it's important to listen to everyone.
That is an excellent point. And I think as you're thinking about the three branches of government, sometimes we think about them as three branches of government and not how they intersect and work together. And I think that this question brought out a really good point about how all of the branches have to have similar skills so that they can work together on our behalf. Now we have a third school and we have a question there. Could you say that again, please? Can you explain your job in depth? Can you?
Sure. So I'll try to keep you all awake while I talk about what we do in the treasurer's office. It's a pretty broad office. One, I'm responsible for managing all of the state's pension investments. And so our pensions are, if you have a parent who works for the state of Connecticut, or if you have a parent who is a teacher, obviously your teachers here, they pay into the state's retirement plan. And I invest that money to make sure that when they are ready to retire, they have money there that they can live off of in their retirement. And so it's really important that we manage those funds responsibly, because it is, it's the safety net. It's how state employees and teachers are ultimately going to make sure that they're able to retire with dignity after working many years servicing you all, right? And making sure that they're giving you a great education. And there's about $50 billion in our pension funds that I'm responsible for managing. I also manage all of the money that comes in and out of the state to make sure that we can pay our bills on time, that we have money when we are looking to invest in projects around the state. And so there's about $250 billion that comes in and out of the state every year that I'm responsible for making sure we're on top of. All of our bonding, so it's how we borrow money, it's how we build schools and bridges and childcare facilities and housing all across the state. All of the bonding and borrowing goes through my office. I oversee our CHET program, which is a college savings program that your parents can pay into. So if you put money into your college savings account, we'll invest that money and make sure that it's growing over time. That way, when you're ready to go to college, you're able to access that money to help pay for school. So there's a lot of different things that we cover. But as I mentioned, there's also this opportunity to really look at policy and look at innovative programs like baby bonds, ways to help lift communities up and invest in people. The role of treasurer, I think in some ways I'm really focused on the future. My role is not about any 1 year at a time. There's a lot of investments we make that really we won't see the benefit of until 10 years down the road. And so what it allows me to do, I think sometimes, is think a little bit bigger picture. And it's fun because being a younger person in government, I know I don't seem young to you guys, but I'm the first. So Sean Scanlon, who's the comptroller, and myself are the first millennials to get elected to statewide office in the state's history. And I think both of our roles, we're able to think about the long-term future that we want down the road, which is pretty cool. So that's kind of some of the key pieces to my job.
Thank you. That was good.
That's a great question. To go into depth a little bit more, the responsibility of the state reps and the state senate, along with the governor, is to make sure that the state of Connecticut has a state budget. And that means that our budgets are enacted or done every 2 years. So last year, we started our budget process in January until June. And then this year, we're in our second year of the session. And we start in a couple of weeks to have session, and then we're done in May. So what we do is, in the second session, is to fix the budget from the first year. But it's important that you understand that the state of Connecticut needs a state budget. That's how your schools get funded, your hospitals, your cities, your roads, the police department, the fire department, the hospitals, healthcare. That's where, and the nonprofits that do a lot of the work in your community also get funding from this budget. So when we get the budget, when we got the budget last year, it was probably about this thick. And by the time we're finished, it's maybe about that thick. So the governor proposes a budget every year. He's ready to propose a budget in February. We start February 8th. And I think it's the 8th. It's a Wednesday. It's the first Wednesday of the month. He proposes a budget, and then the legislature, us, the Senate, and the representatives look at that budget and will say, okay, this is important, this is important, this is not important. So that's why you have representatives from your towns that will fight in the legislature to keep the funding going in your cities, in your schools, in your hospitals, in the judicial system, because we have to fund his salary too. So his salary also goes in there. So we fund, that's what makes the state of Connecticut run. If we don't pass a budget, there was 1 year since I've been there in the 12 years that it was like 2 terms ago. We have to approve a budget by the first week in June, just like some of your cities do. So that everything starts July 1st of that year. But there was 1 year that we didn't approve a budget until October. And that means that a lot of the programs that your parents are using, the people that work for the state workforce, they'll get paid if they work for the state, and if the money's coming to the cities, that city employees will get paid. So that's important. And that year, like a couple of days, we had until October 31st, which is, of course, you all know is Halloween. We had a couple of days to approve the budget. Because if not, then if we don't approve a budget by the end of October, then the whole state shuts down. It's almost like, I don't know if you're watching the news now, but it's like the federal government. The federal government has to keep approving a budget to keep it running, because if not, a lot of federal programs, a lot of federal state parks, a lot of things won't get done at the federal level that are supposed to get done, because and then we don't get our money at the state either, because the federal government gives the state of Connecticut also a budget, depending on our population. So that's why it's important that we pass a budget every year on time, so that the services in your community will continue. That to me is the most important thing. I sit on the finance committee, so we have to find the money. And then the appropriations committee, which is another big, huge committee, has to spend it. So we raise it and they spend it. Those are the 2 most important committees in the Capitol right now. But that, I think, is the most important job that we have, and our responsibility. And you need to hold us accountable, or your parents need to hold us accountable, and your teachers and everybody else, to make sure that we pass a budget so that the state of Connecticut can continue with services.
Thank you.
Essentially, the key element of the job I have is to, right now, sitting on the appellate court, previously on the Supreme Court, was to review claimed errors that were made at the trial level. So, I'm sure you all watch TV, and you may have watched trials on TV. That's in Connecticut, that's called the Superior Court. They handle all the trials. From there, it's the right of any losing party to appeal their decision to the appellate court or perhaps the Supreme Court. But more often than not, it initially goes to the appellate court. So each side prepares a brief, and it has an appendix of everything that happened in the trial. And then we have to decide whether or not an error was made such that the case has to go back for a new trial. And essentially, I've always said, to have this job, and you're in a perfect position to you have to love to read. When I was on the Supreme Court, it was not uncommon to have each case involve about 5,000 pages of reading. So it was day in, day out, reading from morning till night. You had to love to read, and that's still the way. It's not quite as many pages in the appellate court, but love to read and make a decision sometimes on things that have not been previously decided. It's almost like a puzzle, and you're trying to solve the puzzle. But thanks for the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, we have actually come to the end of this session. So you guys are going to move on to do something else. But I really want to thank our guests here for giving us this in-depth look at what they do in each branch of government. So let's say thank you, and then you can go with your leaders to the next activity. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the courtroom. It's good to have you back here today. I'm Ms. Whipple, and we're here to learn more about the three branches of government from people who actually work in Connecticut's three branches of government. And I'm going to have our guests introduce themselves, but I want to say that in this group today, we have students from Renzulli Academy. You want to raise your hands? Ivy Drive School, Gainfield Elementary School, and Crack Anna Grace Academy of the Arts. So we have 4 great Connecticut schools here. And as I understand it, each school has developed some questions that you would like to ask today. Does every school have at least one question to ask? Okay. Then what I'm going to do is ask a teacher from a school to choose the student who's got the question, if there's a student who was assigned the question, and then our guests will answer the questions. But first, I would like them to say a few words about themselves and what they do.
Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good, good. So really happy to be here with you today. My name is Eric Russell, and I am the state treasurer here in Connecticut. So my job is ultimately about managing all of the state's money. So I make sure that we are paying all of our bills on time, that we're making good investments. And I've been doing this job for about a year. I got elected at the end of 2022. And so have been on the job for a little over a year and have been really enjoying the work. I'm an attorney by trade. So before I ran for office, I was a finance attorney, and I did that for about 11 years before running for office. So look forward to your questions and hanging out with you today.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. How's everybody doing? Good, good, good. My name is Hilda Santiago. I am a state representative from Meriden. Meriden is mostly in the middle of the state, 20 minutes from Hartford and 20 minutes from New Haven. I've been a state representative now for 12 years. I was elected in 2012. And one of my biggest responsibilities is enacting or making or changing or bringing in new ideas for laws for the state of Connecticut. So the state capitol, the executive branch, there's the governor, and then there's the state reps. And well, the constitutionals go next. There's a whole row of constitutionals, and below that is the state senate and the state rep. And then the government after that would be like your local city government and your local board of ed, just so that you have a picture of where we go to and as far as making laws in the state of Connecticut. And we could talk a little bit more about that. And again, thank you for having me here too.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dennis Ellie. I'm a judge, and I currently sit on the appellate court. For 7.5 years, I sat on the Supreme Court of the state of Connecticut until I hit the Supreme Court's mandatory retirement age. I've been a judge over 25 years now, and previously was a lawyer, and I've actually been a lawyer sworn in over 51 years now. And I thank you for coming today, and I look forward to answering your questions if I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to ask each school to have someone ask a question. And the first one would be, is there a question from Renzulli Academy? So this is a question about the legislative branch. And the question is, how long does it take to pass a law?
Well, that's a good question. So it all depends. I go to my constituents, so the citizens that vote me in Meriden in a certain district, and I have round tables, I have town halls, and I go to Stop and Shop, and I go to neighborhood associations, and I get ideas on what laws to enact in the state of Connecticut. So you can have an idea, because our elections, our term is for 2 years. So you can start. Last year was the first year of the term. It goes from January to June. And this year we go from February to March. So let's say I put in for law last year. So the law that I put in last year was for barbers, barbershops or barbers to to be trained when they go for their license to be trained to deal with autistic kids, right? There's not a lot of barbers that know how to deal with children with disabilities, especially autistic kids. So I got an idea from a barber. Him and his wife, who's a social worker, put a curriculum together, and I introduced that law last year, that idea last year. Well, it didn't go anywhere. So this year, I have to reintroduce the idea so that hopefully the General Assembly and the Senate will enact the law. So then it becomes a law in May, and then the governor signs the law so that barbers that are being trained, let's say, starting January 1st, because most of our laws either start January 1st or July 1st, that when they go to get trained to be a barber, that now it includes in their curriculum, you know how you have an education curriculum at school, that they will learn also how to deal and how to treat children that have disabilities and also autistic. Because right now, you can go to a barber and the barber might not know how to deal with you, so your mom is gonna have to take you out of there and go to somebody else that can cut your hair. Or when you go to a beauty salon or hair salon. So that law now, I enacted it last year, I put it in for last year, it didn't go anywhere, so now I have to work double hard this year to convince my colleagues, there's 187 of us, to help to make that law a reality for May. So sometimes laws go into effect right away and the ideas come out, but sometimes it might take a year, sometimes it might take 2 years, sometimes it might take 3 years. So it all depends on what the law is. That's the easiest way to answer that.
Thank you. That was very good. So I think next we will go to Ivy Drive School, and if a teacher can select one of your students to ask a question, and we might have one about another branch of government, or all three. This is for the judicial branch, and it is how many cases are there in a year?
How many cases in a year? Okay, wow, good question. Well, I can break it down, at least for the appellate court. When I was on the Supreme Court, at our height, we handled about 150 cases a year. The appellate court handles about around 600 to 900 cases a year. Then we have a level called the trial court, which is the superior court branch, which generates all these cases. They have criminal and civil trials, and there are literally thousands of cases pending there. At one point, I was in charge of all the civil cases in Connecticut, and when I did that, we had over 30,000 cases pending in Connecticut. So there are thousands of cases, in answer to your question, at the trial level that are tried each year.
That was a great question and great answer. A little bit overwhelming though. The next question will be from a student from Gainfield Elementary School. Could you repeat that, please? How long is the process to decide if a law is constitutional?
Okay, thank you for that. Excellent question. I'm going to give you an example of, while I was on the Supreme Court, the case that took the longest to decide, and that was a constitutional question. The case came up, first of all, through the trial court level, and by the time it reached the Supreme Court, the legislature had passed an act. It involved a man who was in prison. He was on the death penalty. He was awaiting the death penalty at the time. And the legislature determined that there shouldn't be any more death penalty in Connecticut, but for all those people on death row, they could still be executed. So the question for the Supreme Court was whether or not having a law passed where it was the policy of the state not to have anyone executed, was it still constitutional to have people executed? That case was argued before us, and it took the longest to determine of any case we had that I was there, and I think one of the longest in our history to determine whether that was constitutional. And we found that that provision was unconstitutional, and that took over 2 years to get the decision out on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Now we have Anna Grace Academy of the Arts. We have a question there, or maybe if we have one for the executive branch, that would be great. How do you decide on a law if it's legal or not?
I can answer that a little bit. We have an idea, or we want to change something in the system, so we enact the law. But I don't actually write the law, and I actually don't do the research. We have lawyers that are hired to help us to look at whether the law is constitutional or not, or if it's a good law. And there's also what the lawyers do. That's why it's important if you're going to be a lawyer. You can get jobs anywhere. The lawyers that we hire will look at other states and to see if that particular law was passed in either Massachusetts or New York or New Jersey, the surrounding states, and then we'll get ideas that way. So if it was passed in New York, then we'll enact that law in the state of Connecticut. So we don't actually know whether the law is legal or not. It's not until the lawyers that help us tell us that it's legal, or if it's not going to go to court, because we can enact the law and somebody doesn't like it, and then they can sue the state of Connecticut, and then it has to go to the court, because that has happened. So it all depends on what the law is.
Thank you. Now I'll open it up to any one of the schools, and I would love a question about the executive branch, because we have our state treasurer here, and he has some very interesting things to say. How do you enforce laws?
So that's great. So it's why I think, and we've talked about this with the prior group, that really all of these branches of government really work closely together, right? So my office doesn't make laws, but we work a lot with the legislative branch. If there are things that we would like to get passed, we work with the legislature to get that legislation passed. From there, then the enforcement side of that legislation is why, if it's a criminal law, it's why we have law enforcement that's involved in enforcing criminal laws. If it is a civil law, it's why those things can be brought to the judicial branch. If someone violates a civil law, that they can file a lawsuit, and that would then go to the court, and then the court would decide if that law was violated or not, and if somebody ultimately needs to, say, pay someone back if they violated a civil law.
Thank you. Did you want to add?
So, for example, we passed a law on baby bonds. And it was an idea that came up through the legislature, through a couple of legislators from Waterbury and Stanford. We all got together, and we're trying to pass this law. It's a few years now, like 3 or 4 years. And we passed the law. So then it was Treasurer Russell's job to make sure that he made it work. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So Connecticut Baby Bonds is a program that was kickstarted by my predecessor, so the treasurer who was there before me. And it's ultimately about addressing poverty in Connecticut. So for every child who's born into poverty now in Connecticut, there'll be $3,200 that's invested in a trust, and that's managed by my office. And that money grows over the life of that child. And when they're between the ages of 18 and 30, they can access it for causes that are about building wealth. So to help purchase a home in Connecticut, to start or invest in a Connecticut business, to help pay for college. And when the law was first passed, obviously a program like this takes a lot of money to fund, right? And it was there was an agreement on how to fund the program, even though the law had been passed. And so when I came in, I had to try to think of some different ways where we could come up with the money to fund the program. And we worked closely with the legislature to get that done, and we were able to figure out a way to do it. But I think that's an example of, even when you pass a law, sometimes there are still some other steps that need to be taken. If that law requires money or other things, we have to all work collaboratively to find ways to get those things done.
Great. That's a great example of how the branches really need to work together to serve the people of Connecticut, to make sure that everything is done properly, that people's ideas are being made into laws and being used to make life better for everybody. So that was a really good example. Now, I think that question was from Renzulli, from a student at Renzulli. So let's go on now to Ivy Drive School. If you have a question, one more question. Yes. What is the hardest part of your job?
Very good question. So I would say the first thing is that because in the executive office, so the treasurer's office is completely separate from other offices. I run my own team. We run all of our own thing. We have about 140 employees. And so first I would say is just managing a team, because we have a lot of people who are doing this work every day that I'm responsible for overseeing and making sure we're all moving in the right direction. I think the other piece is just, it's the collaboration, right? It's that in government, nothing can happen by you trying to do it on your own. And I think it's the same thing that you probably see in your classrooms, right? Is if you want to do something really important and really big, it's always a lot easier if you're working with other people to do it, right? And so my goal when I'm doing a lot of this work is making sure that we're working as a team, not just within the office, but that we're working with the legislature, that we're working with other branches of government to make sure that we are putting out the best product for our state. And a lot of my work is on the finances of the state, right? So I manage all of the state's money, all of if you think about our pension funds. So if any of your parents work for the state, or if any of your parents are teachers, or like your teachers here, they all pay into a retirement account, and I manage all of that money. It's about $50 billion that we have in our pension funds. I also manage all of the money that comes in and out of the state every year. And so that's money that the legislature spends, right? That they decide where that money's going. But I have to manage all of it coming in and out. That's about $250 billion every year. And so it's a lot of responsibility, but it's also great when you're able to work and collaborate with other people to get things done.
Thank you. And Justice Evelyn, what's the hardest part of your job?
I was just thinking about that. Right now, I would say the hardest part, over 25 years of being a judge, the hardest part that I've ever had as a judge was in sentencing someone found guilty of a crime, and what the appropriate sentence was based on their background, maybe prior history, and trying to make a fair sentence for people that compared with similar crimes, so that no one got a disparate sentence, and you tried to make it as equal as possible. And a lot of people, I think, feel that way. That by far is the most difficult part of the job that I had.
Thank you. That would be hard. I think you all have very challenging jobs, and you can see that it takes a lot of creative thinking to do these jobs. As we've heard before, a lot of reading. You have to know math if you're going to be handling billions of dollars. There's a lot you have to know, and all of that can help to make a job easier. So I think next we have Gainfield Elementary School is the next school with a question. That question is, once a bill becomes a law, how long does it take to go into effect?
That's a good question. Once a bill becomes the law, it all depends on the decision that we make as legislators when it becomes a law. So we enact the law, the Senate chambers has to approve it. We have to approve it in the House because they're on the third floor and we're on the second floor. So we have to work together to pass that law. Then the governor has to sign the law. If the governor doesn't sign the law, it doesn't become a law. Then we have to go back to the drawing board again. It might be something in there he doesn't like or something he wants to add, but all that work is already done in the beginning. So then the governor signs it. But in the legislation, in the bill, we put a date of when that law starts. So we can either use July 1st because the session ends in June. That's when we do the budget, the 2-year budget. And then let's say we want to start July 1st. So then it starts July 1st. But let's say we want to change something like the bottle, you know, you get 5 cents deposit on your bottles, your empties when you take them back. We enacted that law like 2 or 3 years ago because we wanted to give a chance to the bottle people, the recyclers, a chance to change their technology and change their machines in order that instead of now that you put in for a bottle, you get 10 cents, right? So starting October 1st of last year, 2022, you now get 10 cents for your bottles. So it all depends on what the law is. So it either can start July 1st, it can start October 1st, or it can start January 1st of this year. So it all depends because we have to be sensitive to when a law can take effect to give people a chance to get to know the law. So we might have to do education. We have to tell the schools. We have to tell your parents. We have to tell the community. And that might take time. So it all depends on what the law is. So there's different dates that we use.
Thank you. Would either of you like to add to that answer? No, that was
We're good.
perfect answer. Thank you. Okay, now on a Grace School, it's your chance to ask a question. Yes? Is there a certain person who was in the executive branch the longest? Thank you.
So it varies at different times. So right now, I would say in the executive branch, it would be our lieutenant governor. She's been in this role the same amount of time that the governor has, but she was in other offices in the executive branch before. So she was Secretary of State at one point as well. And she was, so she had run for different offices, and she was actually in the legislature for many years before that as well. And so that's the case right now. We have a lot of new constitutional officers. So I just got elected about a year ago. The new Secretary of State, Stephanie Thomas, got elected at the same time just about a year ago. She was actually a state representative before she ran for Secretary of State. And then Sean Scanlon is our comptroller, and he was also a state representative before he ran for comptroller. And so those are all new officers. And then our attorney general has been there. This is his second or third term now as attorney general. And then the governor and lieutenant governor have been there for about 5 years now each.
That's good to have different numbers of years of experience for people to work together. Justice Avale and Representative Santiago, would you like to comment on longevity in your branches?
Just say that the state reps and the state senators run every 2 years. They run every 4 years. And we can't change that for us because if it's in the state constitution that we can only run every 2 years. So in order to change the terms, then we would have to put a referendum out there for the citizens and the voters of the state of Connecticut to vote to change the Constitution. So right now, we only run every 2 years. The governor runs every 4 years. And he can run for as many years as he wants. Every 4 years is one term. So I run every 2 years. So I ran, this is my 6th term. So that means it's what, 12 years, right? 6 times 2 is 12 years. So I wish it was longer than that because when I was on the city council at the local level in Meriden, and I was a city councilor, our terms were 4 years. So when I got in 2005, I was a city councilor, and then I ran again 4 years later. So it all depends on the branches, and the judges are a little bit different too.
Yes, we're appointed for 8-year terms. So we have to, every 8 years, we have to go back, and hopefully the governor reappoints us, and then we must go before the Judiciary Committee to be interviewed, and then the General Assembly has to vote on us to be reapproved for another 8 years. In terms of longevity, I think there's currently a judge who's been sitting around 45 years. We have had some judges who were still hearing cases over age 100. I don't think there are presently any. The oldest right now, I think, is someone who's 89, the person who's been around for 45, but he's still hearing trials, mostly family trials in New Haven at age 89, and he's still very, very sharp. So
That's really interesting. So there are all kinds of different lengths of times that people serve in their positions. And here's a fun fact. When this building was the state capitol of Connecticut, and you've all been to the Kid Governor's office by now, and that was the real adult governor's office for many years when this was state capitol, the governor ran every single year. He had to run not every 2 years, not every 4 years. He wasn't appointed. He had to be elected every single year. So he was almost always running for office back then in the 19th century. So things change over time, and it's because the constitutional requirements change, because the people of Connecticut vote for those changes. So there are a lot of ways that government can change over time to better suit maybe what's going on in the world at that time. So it's really important to stay up to date and keep apprised of the news, listen to the news, watch the news, read the news, and just know what's going on in your community so that you can understand how government can best work for you. So we are just about at the end of this time. We've got 4 minutes left. So I'm going to ask each of our guests to give a minute of advice for you.
Well, I said before, particularly both as a trial judge and on the Supreme Court and the appellate court, it was particularly the Supreme Court, it was not uncommon for each case to involve, between the briefs and appendix and transcripts of trial, about 5,000 pages of reading per case. So you had to love to read. So what I would encourage you, and I'm sure you all do this anyhow, but continue your love of reading, whatever that may be, as you move on in your education, because whatever job you may go into, it'll involve some element of reading and or writing. When I speak to school groups, one of the common questions is, what would I recommend for someone who's a lawyer to go into in a major in college? And I used to say what I did, which I look back on, and it was a mistake just because I love political science and history. That's what I majored in. If I had it to do all over, what I tell all the students that I speak to is I would major in English and writing, because it's amazing. I have to analyze writing all the time. And even lawyers preparing briefs, I would say about 25% of them are not well written. And it means a lot. It's how you communicate, how you persuade. So if you want to go into law, for whatever it's worth, I recommend you major in English and writing and continue your love of reading throughout your career.
Thank you.
And that's a great suggestion. I just want to add that a lot of people think that to be a state rep or a state senator, you have to be rich. You have to have a lot of money. You don't. In the state of Connecticut, we have campaign financing. So that means that we raise $5,000 from our town, and then we apply for a grant through the state of Connecticut, and we get another $32,000 to run a campaign. Because let me tell you, I don't make that kind of money. So this legislature, as a state rep, we only get paid $40,000 a year. It used to be $28,000, now it's $40,000. So you have to have another job to be a state legislator. And we have a lot of lawyers up there that can do that. No, it's not a bad thing. But they have a business, and they can, get out of their job, their lawyer. They can schedule their court dates around their schedule. But we made it easy in the state of Connecticut that if you're a regular mom or a regular worker or a business owner, a lawyer, a prior judge, a nurse, a doctor, we've had DJs, we've had all kinds of folks that have been representatives and state senators. You can run for politics because in the state of Connecticut, we have a grant. The state senators get a little bit more money. They get about up to 80,000, I believe, plus the 15,000 that they raise because they represent more people in the state. But if you like helping people and you like advocating for them, and when I was small and I lived in New York City and my parents didn't know a lot of English, I was the one that went to the doctors with them. I was the one that dealt with issues in school because I had to translate. And that's how I started being an advocate. And then when I had my son, who has a learning disability, the school system didn't want to help me. So I had to fight for him in Meriden to get services that he needed because he needed to be in special ed. And if he wasn't put into special ed, he probably never would have graduated from high school. So I had to advocate as a parent for my son. And there were people that were making those decisions that didn't look like me. A mother raising 2 kids, head of household, and a woman and Latina. So I started fighting for rights of people a very long time ago, helping parents out. And then eventually when a position became available in Meriden, I went to get elected for the city council. My first election, I only raised like $2,000. But I did run for the Board of Ed in Meriden, and I lost that election. So I didn't give up. So I lost my first election. I lost my second election before I became a city councilor, but I didn't give up because I felt that I had that special voice to bring issues to the table, again, because people that were making those decisions didn't look like me and didn't know what it was to work 3 jobs to raise 2 kids. So that's one of the reasons why I went into politics, because there are still a lot of people in the state of Connecticut that are going through those problems. And I want to be able to be that voice to help them change legislation and make things better for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll keep this really short because I know we're running tight on time. I would say the first piece is that listening is one of the best skills that you can develop, because anything that you do, right, you will be better at if you can listen to those around you, whether it's so that you can collaborate with other people to make things happen, or if you're thinking about the job of being in elected office, so much of it is about being able to hear and understand what other people around you are experiencing and what they need. And if you're a good listener, you're going to be able to pick up on those things. Second, I would say is chase whatever dreams you want and go after it and work for it. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. When I was growing up, I never thought that that was an opportunity for me. I went off to law school, and I've been able to do a lot of things that I never could have imagined when I was growing up. So some of these things that may seem really far-fetched, if there's things that you care about, if there are dreams that you want to chase, put in the work and go after it. Because I think it's all accomplishable if you are willing to put the work behind it.
And you work hard.
Thank you very much. We really appreciated the answers to your questions. We appreciated the questions. So a warm thank you to our guests today. Thank you for being here. And now for the students, we're probably going to be joined any minute by more students, and we'll do the closing ceremonies. But I would recommend standing up and stretching.
Friends, students, we're going to need to accommodate others coming in. So what I'm going to ask, I think it's good to have our 7th inning stretch, but if you are already here, if you could just move forward, we're going to sit down for a very brief closing ceremony. Just move forward, have a seat, because we need to make sure that our friends can sit behind us.